Warming the pegs at the DJC Collectibles studio, I'm Midwest professional wrestling legend Gage Octane. And now, a guy who has more Chase Razor Ramon figures than your Walmart has Harry Hulk Hogan's, Kyle Peterson.
What's happening, everybody? Kyle here with my co-host Angie. Angie, say hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Angie, as we're back for episode number 14 of the Kyle Peterson Show. We got past unlucky number 13.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're on to number 14, and Angie is here once again. Angie, we're on borrowed time with you. You got maybe next week's episode, and then you're taking a sabbatical. She's taking a break. She's headed to the city of brotherly love, and hopefully you don't get too much brotherly love out there while I'm away. But you're headed out to the land of the Philly cheesesteaks to Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Are you getting excited for that trip?
Yep.
You're gonna miss me so much, though. We've never been apart that many days. I don't think
I'm gonna be homesick.
It'll be like 10 days, and I think you'll miss the kids a little bit more. But I'll be in there somewhere in the mix.
I'll miss my bed. What I'll miss.
Well, I will too. But but and then unfortunately, I leave like a day before. I leave on a work trip like the day before you leave, and then I leave on another work trip the day you get back.
Yep.
So 2 star-crossed lovers crossing in the night is what that one is there. So we'll see how that goes. But while you're away, guest co-host, Midwest professional wrestling legend Gage Octane, the announcer of the Kyle Peterson Show, will be here filling in for Angie. So that'll be a good one. We'll get to know Gage Octane a little bit more. We'll talk some old wrestling stories. We'll talk some stories of up and down the roads, him and I, and over the years and things like that. And of course, he is the announcer of the Kyle Peterson Show. Got to thank Gage Octane for his announcing each and every week on the channel. What else we got to do? We got to plug the sponsor of the Kyle Peterson Show. It is, of course, episode 14, and the sponsor this week is DJC Collectibles. Use discount code 8OFFDJC to save 8% off your entire order. Head over there, tell them Kyle sent you. Shout out to the boys over there. The boy? The boys over there. The boys over there at DJC Collectibles. Treating me right. They sent me a little birthday gift, Angie, this week. That was very nice. Where's your gift?
Precious. Have you even said that it's your birthday?
We'll get there, but I guess let's get into it. Let's get into this here, Angie. Are you ready for this?
Yes, barely. Right. I'm a little out of it. We're filming this.
Oh,
we're filming a day early, but extremely late in the day.
But first off, Angie, how are you?
How are you?
How are you? How are you doing? But first off, before we get to that, how are you?
I'm sweaty. I'm kind of tired.
Sweaty. You don't got any BO. I don't smell anything, so you're doing good.
I never do.
Yeah, you never do. You smell beautiful.
Right.
Yes, you do. Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. But we got a lot going on here today, and now we should tell them we're filming a couple of days earlier than normal. So there's a lot going on today. Today has been off the rails if there ever has been an off the rails day here. So today, in full transparency, is that what we're calling it? Today is my birthday. It is technically June 25th. I just reminded Angie. She said, oh, yeah, that's right. So it is my birthday here today. Now, we've been talking about my birthday. We talked about it last week a little bit on the channel. So today is officially my birthday as I'm filming this. It'll be a week after my birthday when this drops because it's just the way time works, apparently. It's confusing. But it is technically my birthday here today. And I have, it is Wednesday the 25th. I have Thursday off and I have Friday off from work. And it is extremely difficult for me to get time off of work. No different than today. I spent about 5-6 hours at the computer and on the phone this morning to start my birthday off. So very frustrating start to the day. We're going to talk a little bit about that. This is usually a pretty lighthearted podcast, a pretty good time, but it's going to get serious in a deeper dive. So be prepared for that. We're going to lay it all out there, going to lay the emotions out on the sleeves. But it's been a wild couple of days in the old salt mines, as one may say. And today was very wild as well. You had one of those countrywide conference calls, which are never a good thing. Never a good thing. So maybe we'll dive into a little bit of that here in a deeper dive. So stay tuned for that. But I had to work most of my birthday, so that was a rough day. Then I did actually go to Walmart real quick. I had a little business stop I had to do, and there's a Walmart there, and naturally you stop. Even though Angie and I went there last night, we went there. I said, I'm going to go back today. I'm feeling lucky. It's my birthday. I'm going to roll the dice. And what did I find? Stone Cold Steve Austin Ultimate Edition on my birthday. So something was going right for me here today. So that was a nice change of pace. But Angie, I got home from that, and then I had a couple more conference calls for work, unfortunately, on my day off. Now, mind you, on my day off working. But that's usually how it goes. But had to do that. And then I said, Angie, I got to get downstairs because I'm a little bit behind. I had to film an episode of the Kyle Peterson Top 5. I had to film that Stone Cold Steve Austin unboxing. I filmed a Mythic Legion unboxing. And then a set rankings of the new Survivor Series. So I filmed all those videos. I came upstairs, changed into my finest Western wear here as we're celebrating the 4th of July. More on that in this video as well. Angie, I told you I'm a mile a minute here today. Cut me off whenever you want. Changed my clothes, and now we're filming the podcast. Immediately after this podcast, Angie, we're going to go to another Walmart. I haven't told you that yet, but we're going to try to find that shipper. And then we're going to dinner for my birthday. We're going to a fancy barbecue joint, too. Of course, you wouldn't have it any other way. Old Cowboy Kyle going to get some barbecue. Get some ribs and some burnt ends in him, of course. You know, some fries, maybe some beans.
I need to change my white shirt.
You better change, because Angie's going to get all, you're going to get all in deep in those bones. I know how you get. I know how you get all messy all the time. It's sloppy.
I clean them bones.
Oh, she cleans those, every last drop of barbecue off that bone too. That's for sure. There's no doubt about it. So you better wear some overalls or some bibs. You can get those overalls from last week. Farmer Angie. Farmer in the Dell, of course. A lot of people liking the Farmer in the Dell look for you.
Oh my god.
You should have worn a little farmer's hat too, like one of those straw hats.
Too much.
Oh, never enough. Never enough. Yeah, it's me. But we're going to get barbecue, and then in a plot twist, I did talk to my dad today. My dad said, hey, we'd like to stop over and say hi to you for your birthday. And Angie made a fabulous cake.
Did I?
Well, we'll see. I guess we haven't tried it yet, but Angie did make a cake for my birthday. Angie, what kind of cake did you make?
Yellow cake, chocolate frosting.
Yellow cake, chocolate frosting. Now,
but I made it a giant cupcake.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm sure. And you got some sprinkles. Oh, we didn't get sprinkles.
We can get them at
Walmart. Oh, Walmart. You're getting our business on some sprinkles.
Tie it all together.
Oh, lucky Walmart. But I like cake, kinda. I don't like, I like white cake or yellow cake with chocolate frosting. I do not like chocolate cake with white frosting at all. I don't like white frosting. I know you like white frosting a whole lot. That's like, you love it white coming out of there.
Ew.
What? I didn't think I like white frosting.
Because you know I like the same cake as you.
You do?
I'm a yellow and chocolate too.
Or yellow and chocolate, but I'll eat white and chocolate as well. I also do love a good German chocolate shake. Shake. Cake. I can't even talk. I'm so wired up. I'm 10 monsters deep today. No, maybe not. But I do like all that stuff. But I do like a German chocolate shake, chocolate cake. I can't talk. I can't say the word. But I do enjoy one of those if you want to try to make one of those.
Does it have coconut in it?
I think so.
That's not my bad.
Well, it could be. You never know. But I do like those a whole lot. So we're going to eat cake. My parents are going to come over as well. But then, Angie, the never ends. It never ends. We got to get packed here tonight because tomorrow morning we're getting up. So I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to work for like 2 hours. And once again, on my day off, going to have to try to get ahead on some of this stuff because I don't want to come back on Monday after vacation and have a 20-hour work day on Monday. That's the worst part about it. So I'm going to try to stay ahead, try to get a couple of things done while everybody's getting ready, showered, and all that kind of stuff. Because we're hitting the road. We're headed to Chi-Town. We're headed to Chicago. And man, those stray kids, a bunch of homeless Korean kids, I believe is what they're called, the stray kids. They're performing at Wrigley Field of all places. And we're going to be there, rain or shine, heat or cold. We're going to be there. And it's supposed to, I think, rain. It's supposed to be like 90 degrees. It should be just a beautiful time. Probably better wear a hat. I think it'll be soaked rats out there is what we will be. So we're going out there to that whole thing. And of course, the whole rigmarole, just getting to Wrigley. Do we take the bus? Do we take the train? Do we walk? Do we drive our car? Do we take the shuttle? What do we do? We better figure that out on the way because I got 5 hours in the car to figure that out, I guess. On the way.
I'll drive and you'll be the passenger princess.
I'm okay with that because
while you edit.
I can edit some videos while we're running down the road. And that's the thing. That's why I'm the James Brown of YouTube. I don't give up. I keep going. So we're going to have some videos out there too. I'll film those, get to the hotel, check in, get the Wi-Fi password, upload all that kind of stuff, set it and forget it, go to dinner, go to the show, come home from the show, shower probably, get cleaned up, sleep, get up the next morning, drive all the way home, and then I'll get home and I'll have to film Toy News right when I get home. And then Saturday we got a hot birthday party we got to go to. So then there's a lot going on over here. Let me tell you. There's a lot going on. Every minute you got to maximize those minutes. We know how that goes, of course, but there's a lot going on. But I'm excited for some barbecue tonight. I'm excited for my birthday. Always fun to be able to celebrate another birthday. You don't know how many birthdays you have. That's just the sad thing.
Especially when you're 80.
Especially when you're 82.
82.
82. Yeah, it's tough. It's a hard time here.
You really should be retired.
I should retire. I'm too old for this. Too old. Why am I still working? What am I doing here? But there is a heck of a lot going on there, Angie, of course. But that's about it on me. What about you again? Nothing? You're just along for the ride. She's just along for the ride.
I'm just here for the food.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, there's a lot going on in the housekeeping here. But Angie, we got a lot to talk about here. We got a lot of surprises around the way in this one. And I should say we're celebrating the 4th of July because I believe July 1st, this episode will drop. If you're a Patreon member, you're in luck. You're getting this video even earlier than normal. Audio podcasts, wherever podcasts are found, wherever you listen to it, make sure you give it a 5-star review too, I should say. Video cast, of course, but going up early for YouTube channel memberships and Patreon members. But this is officially our 4th of July issue episode. Same thing. I tell you, I'm a cake, shake, issue episode. It's all the same thing. You guys know what I mean. You know, they can speak Kyle.
You're almost a steak and shake.
Yeah, almost there. But this will be our 4th of July episode. So we're going to talk a little 4th of July shenanigans along the way here today. And I guess if you're watching from Europe or Australia or anywhere else, 4th of July doesn't mean a lot for you. But to me, it's one of the busiest work days of the year and also a day off, kind of. But we'll get into all that. But Angie, let's bring it down a notch, or 2 or 3 possibly. We're going to talk a little deeper dive, and we're going to dive into survivor's guilt.
Oh my God, you never take it down a notch on this segment.
Oh, we're still going? We're still going. I gave him the ice cold look, like a deeper dive.
Deeper dive.
And I was doing the dramatic pause, and you're like, there's no dramatic top 10.
Okay, deeper dive. Here we go.
Okay, now we're going.
Here we go.
It's time for a deeper dive where we dive a little bit deeper. And Angie, you always like a little bit deeper. You found a new way to take it even deeper, I think, is what you did say. So you're here for this one here. We're going to take it down a notch or two, and I don't think we'll do that very often on this podcast. We're going to do it here today. The salt mines are a tough one. And the salt mines, that's, of course, your day job. The day job is tough. And especially if you've been with companies, you've been in the rat race for a long time, there's always a little survivor's guilt. And what is survivor's guilt? I guess it can be more than your work life, too. I guess it reminds me of the story how many years ago when I saw that guy die. And I'll probably tell that whole story on the channel one of these days. But I was, a road warrior. And one thing about a guy like me, where I travel 9 states for work, I've traveled many a miles, many a company cars, worn them out over the years. It's amazing that there hasn't been more close calls or deadly accidents or something like that, because your chances you're on the road more, maybe you got more, or maybe you're a better defensive driver, whatever it is. But we'll tell the story one day, but a guy, right in front of me died right in front of me, basically. And I had to, try to do the whole rigmarole. We'll break it all down one of these days on the channel. Maybe next episode. Maybe we'll get into it. But, you got survivor's guilt. Why did he have to crash and die, but not me? I was right by him. If I would have been 2 seconds ahead, would that have been me? So you always get that kind of stuff. And then where I'm going here today, survivor's guilt, more work related. Because if you're in corporate America, you're in jobs or whatever, there's people that get laid off. There's, one day everything's great. You're doing your job. You got your buddies there. And the next thing you know, you're the last guy in the room standing around. And it really messes with your mental health a little bit. Now, I usually don't have any mental health issues. I don't think I do. I'm always crazy. I'm always wild, but I don't suffer from depression. I don't sit there. I don't have any of that kind of stuff.
Very
thankfully,
type A, very type A.
I don't know. So thankfully, I don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. But a lot of people do, Angie. A lot of people do. They have the down days. They have the down moments. And I think if I do have those down moments, I just don't show them. I just don't. I'm a manly man. I'm like a young Don the Predator Fry. I'm just a manly man. I just need to thicken up my mustache a little bit to be full man. But one of these days.
I just get mad if I'm hungry.
Oh, don't even start. If she gets hungry, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And you're close. And you're
Truly
close.
hungry.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. But I don't get too worked up about it. But there's 2 things in my work life where I've had issues, and that'll be another future deep dive when we really want to bring down the mood on something. I'll talk about that in the future. I'll make a little mental note right here.
Make everyone depressed.
Yes. And that would be more imposter syndrome is what I'm talking about there. And we'll talk about that one of these days too, which is very worse than this, I do think. But we'll talk about this here. But I'm talking survivor guilt here today. And I've had, let's call it a 20-year work career for real. The other part of my career was I was a student. I was in school. I lived with my parents for a lot of that. It's like you're in the real world, but you're not. It's like, hey, you lose your job. You're like, I don't care. I'll get another job. I live at home. I don't care. So there's that. When you're in college and high school working, it's like, okay, I could do this forever or I couldn't do it. It doesn't matter to me because it doesn't matter. But then when you get into the working world, the real world, you got a wife, you got kids, you got that, it's like, okay, it's got to be pretty serious. And I always take it serious, but you take it even more serious because you're tied to your job. Your identity is tied to your job. I don't know when that day is going to come. One of these days that knock's going to come on my door and I'm going to be gone, and we'll see how I act after that, because my whole life is tied so much into my work life, and work-life balance is something I extremely struggle with, unfortunately. One of these days I'll get better. Probably not, though. Probably not. So, long story short, survivor's guilt is, you're the last man standing. And I've had that too many times in my career. Like I said, 20-year career, I bet you I've had 10 rounds of layoffs, corporate restructures, whatever. And every single time, Angie, I've came home and I'll say, you won't believe the day I've had, but thankfully I'm still employed. Thankfully I'm still there. But I am not a fool to know that my day will be called. Sometime probably in the next 10 years, Kyle, you've been here too long. You make too much money. That whole song and dance, I've seen it happen to many people that I always viewed smarter than me. It happened to them, and we saw some of that this week at my company here, unfortunately, and a lot of companies across the world going through some of this stuff. But you're looking around, and you're just the last guy standing. And about 5 years or so ago, there was a real huge purge at my company, and every single day I was in the office. I was in the office from like 7 to 6 o'clock almost every day. I guess drive time in there, but still, a long day. And there was about 10 people in that office I would counteract and talk and go to lunch with every single day. You're in the war together. You're in the grocery wars together. You're fighting the good fight. We all got each other's back. It's a great feeling. You're part of a team, all that kind of stuff. And these guys you talk to every single day. So you become very close with them.
Mm-hmm.
I sit there and talk to them more than I talk to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it happens. And one day they had a call, emergency conference call, and next thing you knew, I'm standing around that office and I'm the only one left. And I'm the only guy in there. Mm-hmm. And that is a very strange feeling. And it's so quiet in that office, and here's 10 empty offices in my office. And it doesn't make sense. Why did I get kept? What was it about me that get kept and everybody else got let go? And it's just sad because these people you hung out with every single day, you're always going to be friends with them, but it's not the same. It's just not going to be the same. You don't see them every day. You don't see them. And all those people left, I mean, I probably talked to 2 of them every couple of months now after being so close for so many years. It's just, that's the way it goes. It's sad. Mm-hmm. It's a sad thing. And then you could get inside yourself, well, why did they keep me? Why am I still here? Why am I the survivor? And that was the toughest one I was ever a part of. I was a part of a lot of other ones where I was low enough on the totem pole where it didn't feel like it was ever going to come my way. I was still young, and when you're young, you don't get paid very much. You're on the upswing where the people that get left go are kind of the older. And you hate to say ageism, but man, it's out there like crazy. It is out there like crazy. Like they say other reasons for it, and I guess. But at the end of the day, it's they get too much money. They have too much PTO, the whole song and dance thing. So that's why I know my day will come, and it's going to be a rough day. So we'll see if a podcast, we're looking at ending this podcast at 100. We'll see if we do that or not.
But you're still employed.
See
by
if
then.
I'm still in there. But unfortunately, this week here, I had a major meeting. I had a big time meeting this week, Angie. You knew I came home. I was suited and booted, as one may say. Mm-hmm. I was all suited up. It was a rare time. I don't have to wear suits very often anymore, but it was a pretty powerful meeting with some powerful people from different organizations, including mine. And unfortunately, one of those guys was let go like 12 hours later. So very strange, but a huge restructure of my company this week. So it's a weird thing, but sometimes change is necessary. Sometimes it's not terribly bad. I mean, if they ever change me, obviously it's a bad thing. But sometimes change is good. Long story short, sometimes you got to make changes to get better. But it's hard to think of all that in the meantime when good friends and good people and people you've worked with pretty hard are all disappearing overnight. It's just, It's kind of like mourning a death in a lot of ways. So it's weird. It's uncertain times. And then that's where true leaders stand up, where younger managers, people lower than you, whatever you want to call it on the totem pole, they call you looking for advice, and you got to put on that brave face that, hey, we got to, keep the pace, keep the challenge. Whether or not you believe that, you've got to show that to those people, because, if one of the leaders says, oh my gosh, it's all falling apart, the sky is falling, jump ship, it's not a good thing. So you got to know your audience, know who you're talking to, know the message and all that. But it is a weird, scary time, and it does play with your head. And it's just one of those things that's always strange to me. It's like, why them? Why not me? What did I do? Or did I just get lucky? Or did somebody say, I don't know. And I don't know this time around either, but I got through.
So, and then you just calculate all the extra workload you're going to take on when all your people are gone.
That is. I mean, there was one time where I had 9 people that helped me out, and just overnight they removed all those 9 people. And hey, Kyle, you have to do all their work. So you're already working 50 hours a week. You've got 9 people that are working 40 hours a week that, Kyle, you can do all their work and yours. I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow, let me tell you. But swallowed it for a lot of years and still swallow it from time to time, don't I? Don't I?
So do I. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, you do. You do. That's for sure. So you're better at the swallowing than I am. I struggle with it. I struggle
you gag
with it.
a little.
I do. Not you though. Not you. But that's it. That's a little bring down the house into a deeper dive this week. But things are on the upswing now. It's going to get more fun the rest of the way. So hopefully you're still staying with us here because Angie, now it's time. Well, wait. I should ask you. I should do the right thing here. Do you have any survivor guilt? Do you have any stories like this in your life?
No, but I hated having to fire people.
Oh, yeah.
I hated it. I felt so bad. Like, I would cry after I would have to fire people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you
But
got let go once upon a time.
Way back in
from like
college.
Was that
a
MCI?
company I worked at completely
I don't think they're a business anymore, are they?
So they outsourced all the jobs to Manila, Philippines.
Oh, those Philippines.
And then they offered if you wanted to go. And I'm like, who's going to move there?
I don't know. But
I was so young. I mean, I was
you were
19,
like me as a kid, so it didn't matter.
And I had another job, so it was fine.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess, that's a whole nother story of having to hire and fire people. I don't like doing either, really. I don't like fire people. I don't like hiring people. I mean, I've reveled in a few firings in my day where I got to really tell it like it is. That's a great story that I have on the list to tell one of these days. The first time I ever had to fire somebody, it was an all-timer, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
You don't use physical violence in a fire, but sometimes you do. Boy, I got stories for days, don't I? And Angie's so lucky she gets to hear them all the time.
I would have stories for days if I could remember them.
Maybe. And I always say, Angie, did I ever tell you this one? And then she's like, oh, here we go. Here we go. And I try to tell the kids, and they just, I don't know, they don't want to hear my stories, unfortunately. Some people do, some people don't. It is what it is. But now, Angie, we're officially going to move on from this. Let's dust past this. Let's move over to Figure of the Week. All right, Angie, it's time for Figure of the Week as we continue to celebrate 4th of July. Nothing like down in corporate America. That's the time how you really celebrate 4th of July. But now we're back in the swing of the 4th of July, and we're doing the Figure of the Week, where this is one figure in my collection I saw or I think about, and I say, this is one really hits home. And this one, when I think of wrestling figures, I think of the 4th of July. This is always the first one I think of. This one goes all the way back to SummerSlam 1989 for, of course, a WWE Mattel basic figure of one of the all-time greats, our old friend, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Don't call him Dugan, call him Duggan. It is Hacksaw Jim Duggan in, of course, the face paint, the American flag face paint,
Adorable.
Teaming up with Demolition. Amazing. Now, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, not an absolute favorite wrestler of mine. Is he one of your favorites?
No.
But he's memorable. You know who he is for sure. And I've spent a lot of time around Hacksaw Jim Duggan in my life because one of my local friends, of course, a promoter for wrestling, used Hacksaw in like 30 straight shows one summer. So he was around the whole summer hanging out. A lot of time with Hacksaw. Hacksaw is a very nice guy, a very friendly gentleman. Anybody that's met Hacksaw probably likes Hacksaw. He's been through a lot of cancer, a lot of scares over the years. But man, oh man, just salt of the earth and a tough guy. Ho, as one may say.
Is that a 2x4 he's holding?
Yes, that is standard. Now, I was going to say, there's a lot of Hacksaw figures that scream red, white, and blue. There's some that he has the American flag with the 2x4. Nothing says America like a 2x4, really.
Yeah, really.
2x4 across the back or across the head, either way. But Hacksaw really represents patriotism in wrestling. Now, some people say, Sting in his patriotic gear. Matt Cardona, a good friend of the channel, in his patriotic gear. Who else? U.S. Express, maybe. I mean, there's some. I can think of more, I'm sure. But when I think of patriotic wrestlers, I don't know how you couldn't think of Hacksaw at number one. That's why he's the perfect figure of the week right here. And I got a Hacksaw story that is an all-timer that I could never tell on this, unfortunately. Maybe long after he dies. If we make it to episode like 1,000, maybe I could tell this story. But man, he lives a lot wilder life than I ever anticipated hearing and finding out some of the stories. And I'll tell you offline, Angie. It's a wild story, but Hacksaw, one of the absolute favorites. Never think of him as a world champion or continental champion, but lately I've watched a lot of his stuff of UWF days, and man, oh man, I miss that Hacksaw. I wish we would have got some of that Hacksaw in the WWE back in the day. A little bit tougher, a little bit more serious. But man, oh man, he made it work. There's no doubt about it. And still going today at conventions every single weekend. Hacksaw not messing around. He's not messing around on 4th of July either. I think he loves a good 4th of July parade. I wouldn't doubt it. And we're going to talk a little bit about
candy.
that. Catch some candy. You know he likes some Smarties and some of that terrible parade
Knocking
candy.
the kids down with his 2x4.
Probably hitting people along the way.
He's going to get the ones that are like in the middle of the street.
Dangerous.
They get run over.
He's putting that 2x4 out and people are high-fiving
He's
it.
just sweeping them in with it.
Yep, that's exactly. But this Hacksaw, a must-have figure. I would love to see an Ultimate Edition or Elite Hacksaw in the future where they update this one and you give us multiple heads, and this is a slam dunk as a multiple head. For one, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Angie, that is the figure of the week this week. I'm sure you have a lot to add, but I'm not going to let you.
That was a quick segment.
It is. We got a lot to talk about this time. We're going to go quick. And you sometimes like it quick, is what I've heard. You like a quick segment.
Like
you
if I'm not really in the mood, it's just fine. It's quick.
It's quick. Get through in a quick 3 minutes. That's all you need.
What is it? Wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, the Hacksaw. Yeah, so he hit you with that 2x4. That's what he says. But yes, 3 minutes is perfect for Angie. No more, no less. That's what she wants. Three minutes.
That's long for you.
What? Oh, come on.
I'm kidding.
It's usually an hour, so I dial it back. You see my videos. I get long-winded. But Angie, now it's time for Angie to shine. She's got a new food for us. It's time to try new foods because they might taste good.
Try a little bit of this and a little bit of that. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. We gotta try new food because they might taste good.
All right, Angie, it's time to try new foods because they might taste good. And a couple of weeks ago, we were on a Pringles kick for a couple of weeks. Now we're living that Dorito life is what we are. Shout out to Frito-Lay.
We're running out of options here.
Well, it's getting close. We got one for next week, too. But, there's a couple of weeks to go. There's always something new out there. But we got a new one that really intrigued me for next week. And we'll save that for next week, of course. But this week, we're back to Doritos. Frito-Lay, what are you doing? You need to sponsor the channel. You need to step up.
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor the channel, whatever it may be, let us know. Kyle Peterson, the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com is the place to hit us up.
This actually worked out perfect. Sorry, I cut you off.
Rude.
I didn't realize how patriotic the packaging was.
Yes, there's nothing more patriotic than, what are these, queso Doritos?
Twisted
queso. And Angie, this looks pretty good. So last week we did the Korean Doritos, which I enjoyed. And these I've heard are just amazing. I've heard some people online saying they're so good, they're scared for the day they're done. So
no, there's going to be like a petition to make them permanent.
Yeah. Now, I love queso. Do you like queso?
Yes.
Who doesn't like queso with their chips? I like salsa. I like that. But there's something about queso that's real good.
Me and cheese, sometimes ain't good.
I don't really smell anything. What's it smell like? What cheese is a Munster? A Munster cheese?
I can't figure it.
A Parmesan?
Yeah, it smells like queso.
What do we got for calories and stuff on the back here?
It looks more like a cheddar queso instead of a white.
Okay.
Queso.
So what do we got?
11 chips, 150.
Okay.
Pretty
11
standard,
chips.
I think.
Yeah, that's not terrible. 11 chips, that's plenty. That's plenty.
I should have opened them from the bottom.
That's what they say. I don't know if I believe that, though, but they say that all the flavor sticks to the bottom. And those are the best chips. And I love a Dorito that's covered in, like, the cheese or whatever. I hate it when you get a Dorito that's basically plain. But
When you get a Cool Ranch Dorito and it looks like Christmas, that one's going to be good.
to me, it smells like a nacho cheese Dorito.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But we're going to try it up, Angie. What do you think? And we're going to rate this out of 5. But I've heard these are to die for. Literally, people are dying for these, is what I have heard.
Okay. Good. Really good. I like really strong. It's got a lot of nacho flavor, but it does taste like nachos you would get at a concession stand. It's giving that vibe. The nacho you dip in the cheese sauce.
This very much gives me that, like, walking taco, where you get the walking taco with the Doritos, and they put some extra cheese, they put the lettuce, and
Really good.
maybe some salsa, but then they put that, like, squirt liquid cheese. It's got that vibe. It's got that flavor.
Yeah, definitely get these if you can find them. Really good. And spicy.
They got a little hint of
Little
spice.
kick.
Obviously, flavor profile of a Dorito, crunch of a Dorito. Now, if you had to rate them over the Korean ones, would you put them above Korean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I did try the taco ones. We should have tried them on the show, but I had them before. Those late night taco ones are amazing. They taste like a good walking taco. I really like those ones.
Do you like it better than these?
I would put the late night taco just barely ahead of this, but this is a close second.
I like that they're spicy.
These would be great for a walking taco. If you made a walking taco at home and use these for the Doritos, these would be really good to go. I love a walking taco, and I hate these communists out there that put Fritos, like the Frito chips, instead of Doritos in those. You're obviously, there's something wrong with you if you're doing that. There's no way around it. That is one of the grossest things ever. I'll go to like one of these concession stands and, oh yeah, we don't have Doritos, we use Fritos. Get out of here. You're not getting any of them. I don't want this. I don't want any of it. Fritos, I like chili cheese Fritos. Those are okay by themselves. And a plain Frito just seems like a waste of time to me. But you put it in a walking taco, it's got to be Doritos. Got to be Doritos. But
those are really good.
Limited time. Be there or be square, because you only got a limited time to get these. So you might want to buy up on them if you really like them. And who knows, if enough people buy them, there's enough powwow out there. I know these companies, I work for one, CPG industry, they're looking for sales, they're looking for money. As Jesse Ventura says all the time, follow the money. They'll keep these as a permanent item if they do well. But out of 5, Angie, ladies first channel here. Angie always finishes first. What do you think? Out of 5.
I'm going to give it a 3.75.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, I never give anything 5. That means it's perfect. If it's a number 5, I would never eat. Why would you ever eat anything else again? It's perfect. Why would you go to another Dorito? So it's not quite a 5 for me, but I'm going a little higher than you. I'm going to go.
I was going to do a 4, but then I thought you would judge me.
I'm going to go a straight 4.
That's what I want to give it to.
Okay, a straight 4 across the board, though. It is very, very good. Worth a try for sure. If you like Doritos, you like even nacho Doritos, there's no passing this one up. It's very delicious. Oh, did you already spill on you? Yep,
no,
you did.
Oh.
You spilled right there, it looks like.
I was trying to do ASMR.
Oh, people want that.
On my mic.
You got just a little crunch right there. I'm getting a free feel right there.
I'm a mess.
But there it is. Not bad. Definitely worth checking out, and kind of patriotic. It's got the fireworks on it, all that. So it does tie into our 4th of July theme here on the Kyle Peterson Show. So shout out to Doritos. Shout out to Frito-Lay if you want to sponsor. We're available, right, Angie?
Yeah.
Always available. That's right. So that's Try New Foods, Queso Doritos. But Angie, now we got to segue to something you're very intrigued by.
Oh, gosh.
It is time for the album of the week. All right, Angie, we're kicking it off with the album of the week this week, and I thought we should go a little bit patriotic. It is 4th of July, and we're not doing the old standard Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA. You know that one. Of course, being a country girl, of course. Many a festival in the park and things like that in little small town America that you guys do, right?
Yep.
You probably had somebody sing that. You might even have sang that yourself.
I was going to say, somebody was covering it.
Somebody was singing that one there, and I was a big city. I was West Side KP, so I didn't have any of that kind of stuff. I was just fighting to survive. Fireworks was like it was like Mogadishu back in the day, in like the old war or something. That's what it was. But that would be the easy one, and maybe next year we'll do that for album of the week. We'll see what happens. But shout out to Lee Greenwood making a career off of one song, and they always say you just need one. You just need one, and you can just milk that thing. Like Chubby Checker, he used to do the twist 10 times in concert. So that's what you need. But album of the week here, we're going metal. We're going to one of my favorite metal bands. Obviously, one of the most controversial metal bands here in the last couple of years. But we're going to Iced Earth, and I love me some Iced Earth. I'll never forget I was in college. Iced Earth used to never come to the United States. Rarely ever. And I was a senior in college. I had a German final, and they were playing that same night at the First Avenue in Minneapolis. And I wanted to go the 4-hour drive to go to it because I'd never seen him in concert. And it was actually on this tour back in the day. And I said, I got to go to this. I have to see this concert. And I went to my teacher, and that was Miss Rectanus. That was her name, wow. Miss Rectanus. That's a wild last name. And we're going to tell the story. It's all about foreshadowing other stories here, too.
Did you wreck her anus to get out of this final? Or what?
I wrecked yours. No. No. We'll talk about her another day on the channel. But I went to her. I said, Miss Rectanus, please. I need to go see Iced Earth up in Minnesota. Mr. Peterson, if I make an exception for you, I got to make exceptions for other people. And if you don't take your final, you don't pass. And I'm just trying to do the math. Can I take it early? And she wouldn't put up with any of my shenanigans. And I had a lot of shenanigans, and we'll tell those stories on the channel here. One of my greatest moments, one of my crowning achievements was me getting through German. You've heard that story, though.
Yes.
She's heard it 10 times, and you're going to hear it one time. But Miss Rectanus wouldn't let me go. I had to miss Iced Earth. I had to miss him. And fortunately, I got to see him many years later with a different singer. Now, the singer for the album today, The Glorious Burden, some people say it's their best album, Tim Ripper Owens on vocals. You ever heard of Tim Ripper Owens? Angie, we've actually met Tim Ripper Owens. He was on the Motorhead cruise, got to talk to him, got to eat breakfast at the same table as him, and he performed a little acoustic breakfast at that thing, too. So Tim Ripper Owens, of course, came to life came to everybody's radar, we'll call it, as he replaced Rob Halford in Judas Priest, which isn't an easy job to do. Not easy, but I enjoyed my Ripper years with Judas Priest, carried on to Iced Earth, solo careers, Wolfsman, a million other bands out there he was a part of there. But he was the vocalist on Declaration Day, or The Glorious Burden. Declaration Day was one of the songs on the album. Long way to get there, of course. But The Glorious Burden was about like American history, and a lot of Iced Earth stuff is about that, which makes sense, though, all these years later when John Schaefer, leader of Iced Earth, stormed the Capitol on January 6th, spent a good amount of time in jail and stuff, but then I don't know the whole story. He's out now. He got pardoned. A whole rigmarole with that. I try not to dive into that. A lot of people have turned their back on Iced Earth because of all that, obviously. But
did he just recently get pardoned?
Yeah, just recently, a couple months ago or something. Now he's been out. He's been all over YouTube. So there's gonna be more Iced Earth. He's just milking the catalog, re-releasing everything. It's crazy, but I love, if you like Maiden and Priest and Kiss and Blue Oyster Cult, it's like a beautiful marriage of all that. I absolutely love Iced Earth. That's one of those albums where I got a long drive. I'm like, man, I got something that's going to keep me going. I put on a lot of, be it the Barlow years, even the Stu Block years. That's one problem with Iced Earth. They switched singers a million times. That's always dangerous, but they've done that. But I love all their albums. I just love Iced Earth, but unfortunately, the shenanigans of January 6th, I don't know wherever Iced Earth's going to get back to pre-glory or whatever, but Glorious Burden is a perfect 4th of July album. It's about American history. It's fiery. It's amazing. It's a good one. I guess if you're not from America, you're not going to enjoy it. But Iced Earth is way more popular in Europe than they are in America. So I do think if Iced Earth does come back, I don't think you'll see him in America much, but you'll see him in Europe. You'll see him do it. That's my guess. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening there. But Declaration Day, the Red Baron, The Reckoning, there's a lot of amazing songs. And Angie knows all these. She wanted to sing these for you guys a cappella, which I think would be really good. Do you think we should save that as a Patreon exclusive?
Sure.
That should probably go with all your other exclusive Patreon material Angie's working over there. You're working on a pretty tight set over there for your
I wonder
Patreon.
who writes all their songs, since their singers are so in and out.
He writes everything. Everything. John Schaefer, leader of Iced Earth. And then I got that one shirt from him that I don't wear very often. And I'm going to start wearing it, I think. I'm going to start wearing it. And I used to have actually the poster in my office at work, which was pretty forward of me. In this HR world these days, I shouldn't have that poster in there. But it says, stop being a...
Pussy.
Yep, that's Angie. You can say it. you got what you can say it. So, but yeah, I had that, and I'd always point to, like, people would get all worked up or something. I would just turn around and I'd just do one of these. I'd point to the sign, to the poster. Justin, shout out to my buddy Justin. He worked for me too. I would just turn around and say Justin, and I'd just point to that at him, and that's what we would do. So I would love to hang that back up, but I don't think I'd get away with it where I'm at now. I'd probably get fired. But I got the shirt too. I got it in Kansas City, and I used to wear that with pride. And people are just like, "Ooh, what's he wearing that shirt for?" And Angie loved it. You loved it for sure. You can wear it next time on the show, maybe. Thanks. Who knows? Who knows? But there it is. That is The Glorious Burden. That is the album of the week this week. But now we got something extra special that Angie absolutely hates. Let me tell you, it's time for Rate It or Hate It. All right, Angie, it's time for your favorite segment. This is about 2 hours of your life you will never get back, and you were absolutely disgusted with this movie. But it's time for Rate It or Hate It, where Angie and I dive into a movie. Now, what was the last one we did? Oh, we did the Pee Wee Herman documentary, is what it was. So I think it's safe to say you preferred the Pee Wee documentary over this. And Angie, I don't know if I can stomach doing one. In all honesty here, we're honest to each other. All honesty, I don't know if I could stomach watching one of the movies you would want to watch. I have a feeling, what would you want to watch? If you're like, we're going to watch a movie.
Well, wait, I'd probably pick one you've never seen. Maybe like a Tom Cruise movie.
See, that's what I was just going to say. You were going to go to the Tom Cruise, or you were going to give like When Calls the Heart or something like a Hallmark movie. Have you ever seen
any like the Bourne movies, like Bourne Identity?
Never seen a Bourne Identity movie. And never, I realized just recently I've never seen an Eddie Murphy movie. I've never seen an Eddie Murphy movie. Like Beverly Hills Cop. Now, obviously, I know he's in Shrek. I've heard Shrek. I've heard him voice the donkey. He's been in commercials. But I've never watched a Shrek movie. I've seen it. I understand the premise of it. But I've never seen a Tom Cruise movie. I've never seen a Back to the Future movie. I've never seen the Karate Kids or the TV shows or the movies, any of that kind of stuff. And I always say, people are always like, how could you not see that stuff? And I always want to tell these people, I'm like, well, how did you not listen to every Iron Maiden album? How did you not listen to every Clutch album? How did you not ever listen to every new wave of British heavy metal band that just had one single released or whatever? I spent my time doing that while they were sitting in front of the couch doing that.
And every episode of Leave It to Beaver and Lassie.
Yeah, I've seen Lassie, Happy Days, Leave It to Beaver, Taxi. I mean, I could list basically every show for the 50s, 60s, 70s. I've seen every single episode of 100 times. I just never had the chance or the time to sit down and dedicate like 3 hours to a movie. I just never have. I'm like, it's such a process, and I can't start something and stop it. That's why my brain goes. I'm like, I don't even want to get involved in this because I know in an hour I got to go to baseball practice, and then I'd have to come back to it, and maybe I won't. I just can't set myself up.
And you're busy, and you might be a little ADHD. I don't know.
No, me. ADHD.
You don't like to sit and do one thing too long. You're always multitasking.
I'm a multitasker. I've always been that way. I don't know. I definitely have some mental issues. I think I do. I think we're coming clean. We're coming clean. But I think I channel it in the right direction. That's for sure. But I just never have been able. But I could sit and watch a half-hour show. I'm like, I could watch this, and then after that, I can go and do this or that or the other. It's not as big of an investment. But if I'm going to a theater or something, it's like a whole rigmarole. And it's got to be something I really got to see. It's got to be something I'm excited for, like The Devil's Rejects once upon a time. I saw that theater 5 times, I think I saw that in the theater. I saw Freddy Got Fingered 3 times in the movie theater. 3 times because I loved it. I saw The Cable Guy 3 times in the movie. I love that kind of stuff, so I could see that. So, long story short, Angie, we got Wayward Son here.
We've talked about this before. We're polar opposites with the movie.
We are.
You like mind-numbing.
I don't want to.
I like to be like so very stimulated and like learn something.
Yeah, I don't want any stimulation. I want just mindless where I don't have to think at all. I think too much during the day. I want to be taken away to mind-numbing entertainment. That's what I want. And no better way to segue into this movie here, Angie, is you try to deep think into it too much.
You couldn't have numbed your mind anymore.
No,
than
but
this movie.
There'll be spoilers in this here, so if you might have to fast forward. But this movie came out in 1983.
Just
Angie.
don't watch it.
Oh, stop. This movie came out in 1983, and it's one of the all-time twist horror classics, and you'd never heard of this movie ever until we watched it?
I think maybe I've heard of it.
But you didn't know the ending. You didn't know any of that kind of stuff.
No.
So the movie we're talking about here today was Sleepaway Camp, of course, with Felicia Rose, a horror icon, of course. As a little girl, of course. And it was weird. I made the comment, when I was a kid growing up, I had a girlfriend, just player Kyle, of course, hate the player, don't hate the player, hate the game, is what they say, right? But I had a girlfriend once upon a time, and I remember, we were young in high school and stuff, and early college, and she looked like this as a kid, so it was weird. She kind of looked like her, but she got a lot more attractive than that, because Angela wasn't too hot for me here. I don't know.
She was cute.
But she was also like 12 years old.
That would be weird if you thought she was hot.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But it looked like my girlfriend at the time from her kid pictures. So I thought that was interesting here. But Sleepaway Camp is the story of going away to camp. And it's a girl, Angela, and her cousin, Ricky. And they go to camp together. Ricky's been to this
cousin? I thought it was her brother.
No, it was cousin. They've been to the camp before. He's been to the camp. She was new to the camp. And she's kind of quiet, we'd say. Doesn't really talk. People talk to her and all this kind of stuff. But it's a sleepaway camp, apparently. Dangerous. But, I never went to camp as a kid. I never did. Did you? You went to camp?
Yes.
How many?
Lots.
You went to, like, sport camps, though.
Yes. I went to sport camps, but like a camp that was more that vibe would have been church camp.
Oh.
Where we actually went to like a lake vibe.
Oh. I never had to do any of that, thankfully. My dad said, nah, you just stay home. I went to basketball camps. I went to like 3 of those. I went to a baseball camp. But I never went to like a real... Well, actually, hold that. I did. I did go to a camp one time. It had to have been 1992 or 93. I think it was 92. And this camp closed down. But it was a camp. It was a little bit out. I remember we had to drive quite a ways, but it was a camp called Camp Onawana. And it was a wild time. And there was a guy named Ugg, and he was there, but he was the salt of the earth. He was a good guy. He always wore the stuff on his nose so he wouldn't get his nose sunburned. But that's a story for another day. But that's the only camp I ever went to. Did I ever tell you about my buddy Donkey Lips?
Oh, my God.
I'll tell you one of these days, too. He's falling on hard times these days, let me tell you. But Sleepaway Camp was going on. And it was a wild camp, of course. And all of a sudden, like these campers do, it's almost like Friday the 13th all over again. Campers start dying along the way. And nobody knows who's exactly doing this. And they think old Ricky, the boy, the head of the camp, thinks he's the guy that's doing all this killing. Did you have any inkling who was doing the killing?
Well, I figured it was one of the I thought they were siblings, but...
Okay, you thought it was one of them?
Yeah.
I don't remember the first time I saw this who I thought was killing this, but you had to know that something was going on because why were they focusing on these two and why are they not dying? So you're like, there's got to be something
I already
going on.
forgot who it was that was killing everybody.
Well, so we'll get there.
So
So the killing's going on, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on. There's a lot of stuff that like would never pass the censors today. And that's why I like some of these 80s horror movies, 70s stuff, these exploitation films, because they're like grimy and they're real and they're more realistic. They got like slurs in here that you can't say anymore. It just got a lot of that kind of stuff, which apparently mindless entertainment once again.
Yeah.
I want to see some of that. And, a lot of things like, Ricky liked this one girl and girls go back and forth. One guy loved Angela. He wanted a piece of Angela. And he cheated on Angela. And she was all mad. Long story short, everybody starts to die except for Ricky and Angela. The head camp counselor guy, the owner, thinks Ricky's the murderer. But in a plot twist, it was Angela all along. That's who was the killer. But in an even bigger plot twist at the end, we get some, I guess, male nudity is what we get. We get a little at the end. And it's child nudity, but it's weird because that classic frame of her, she looks like a werewolf is what I always thought of. It doesn't look like her, but you look and you bring two and two together to the start of the movie with the family and the death, and they show a little flashback, and it all comes clear that Angela was actually a boy and not a girl. So there's your spoiler alert. Too late.
Did it actually all come clear?
It did.
Was very confusing.
It did. Is they basically said, "Oh, the brother or the girl died. We needed a boy," or what was it? How did that go?
Exactly. You have no idea.
No, I'm stuttering and stammering. What was
There's
it?
two. So there's two gay guys. There's Angela and Ricky. Makes no sense. One of them dies.
We needed the girl died, and we can't have two boys. So they made Angela or whatever his name was before. They made him be a girl. So it was wild. So like he had to live as a girl. So you knew he wasn't liking things. That's why he was doing all this murdering and stuff. And then at the end of the movie, they showed like he cut the head off that girl or whatever. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, why'd she take her clothes off? Or she? I don't know. It gets confusing. But there she is, and there's that still scene, and you see the ding dong hanging out there, and then you're like, oh my gosh! Then it all comes together, and then there's the crazy aunt at the beginning, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a guy. I don't know. I still haven't got to the bottom of that, but
so was the lady Ricky's real mom?
No, that lady was a guy. It was one of those two dads that were like secretly dating, I think, and the dad dressed as a woman. I think that's how that went. That's how I interpreted it. It's deep cinema here. It's kind of like.
But then it makes no sense.
It makes sense.
It makes
no stop. I bet it makes more sense than any Tom Cruise movie for sure. That guy's like 5 feet tall. How's he doing all this stuff? Nobody takes him seriously. Has he got lifts on? What's going on? I don't know. But the plot twist at the end is the big one. But then, did you know there's Sleepaway 2, 3, and 4? So I don't know when we'll get time to watch all those. I don't know if I've seen the last one. And in a real weird plot twist, is it 3? You'll have to correct me, Angie. But I believe Sleepaway Camp 3, instead of Angela, it's actually Bruce Springsteen's sister is the star of the show. And I'm not a big Boss fan either. He's not my boss, that's for sure. But it's a wild time at Sleepaway Camp. And after watching it, I said, man, I wish I could go to Sleepaway Camp. That's what I said. So, but Angie, now we're at the point here where I think we've talked enough about this, and it's been just ramblings, a lot of confusion, especially on your part. You obviously hated this movie, so we're going to rate this out of 5. And of course, you're going to go first. Could this be a dreaded 0 out of 5? Could this be a 0 out of 5?
All right, I'll give it a 1.
No. You rate it how you want.
I'll give it a
0.1.
0.5.
A half a star. That's a tough one. So you're not going to watch it again?
Just like
you would never watch it
Rotten
again.
Tomatoes.
Would you rather watch Sleepaway Camp 2 or Sleepaway Camp 1 again? If you had to choose between the two.
I guess I'd try 2.
You'd try 2. Okay,
see if it improved.
We'll try 2 later tonight, maybe after my birthday dinner.
I mean, like,
for me, I think it's one of those movies where you watch it once and you're like, wow, that's pretty good, but it's not something I need to repeat. There's very few things I need to repeat watch, but I saw it was on Peacock, of course. Have you seen it on the Peacock? It's on there right now, so if you want to watch it, you can watch it on there. And I saw it, and I said, this would be perfect for a 4th of July episode. It comes camp, it's summer, it's all going together. It's Sleepaway Camp. Angie rates it a half a star or half of a 1.5. I gotta say, I'm not over the moon. I never need to see this movie ever again in my life. But I am going to give it, based on the first time I ever watched it, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Yes,
wow.
A 3 out of 5.
Crazy.
I'm doing it a 3 out of 5 for Sleepaway Camp.
I think I'm like partially mad because I still don't understand it. Like, it still doesn't make sense.
And that's why maybe it's good, because it sticks
it was
with
Ricky
you.
and Angela in the water, and then what?
Was it like
who was in the water? So at the very beginning of the movie, there was 2 kids and a man in the water, and then there was a man on the dock watching.
So
they a boat hits.
Okay, yeah.
And the dad dies, and that's the only one they say.
And the kid dies, and it's the girl that died. So that was Ricky and his sister. And I think the dad was the one that watched him. So then he had a kid that wasn't in that scene. And they forced that kid
but none of this is explained and makes sense.
You just got to connect the dots.
And the guy that was on the dock is now the mom of the he, she, and the...
The he, she.
Well, I don't know how to put it. Angela with the PP.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's how it went. It's a very deep movie. It should be it's a Criterion Collection movie, if I'm not mistaken. So this is one of those deep thinking movies. It really is. So I strongly recommend you guys and gals, especially you gals out there, this 4th of July, sit down with a loved one, sit on the couch, sit close, get some s'mores, do some fireworks, and then stay tuned for the real fireworks of Sleepaway Camp, the classic from 1983. 3 out of 5 stars. Kyle says,
I hate you. I'm not even going to your birthday dinner over that.
Kyle says, check it out. That's for sure. So there it is, Angie.
This was worse. It was worse than Tawny and the T-Rex.
Ooh, that was a good one too, with a young Denise Richards. That was Tammy and the T-Rex.
Oh, Tammy.
See, I thought you loved that movie. We watched that one. That would have been the original rated or hated.
I thought it was terrible, but this was way worse.
Well, we'll see what I got planned for you next time. Now, the first time we did this on the YouTube show, we did Basket Case. I made you watch Basket Case.
Oh my god,
that was the only movie that ever scared me as a kid. So
it was so bad.
We're getting ready. We'll see what movie we need to watch next time. And who knows, if you guys got any ideas, feel free to send them our way. But Angie, I don't know if it's what's that say about me when I won't take the time to watch your movie, but I'll make you watch my movies.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
And you're making me dumber too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to get you just real dumb. But maybe we'll do one of your movies one of these days. But you got to come with a real banger, a real good one, like a Sleepaway Camp. You got to come with one of those. So we'll see. But there's Rate It or Hate It. Be interested to hear your thoughts on Sleepaway Camp. And you got to channel the original time you saw it with the big twist. You got to give me those thoughts, not like after repeated viewings there. But feel free to break down the story, of course. It's a little confusing.
I'm still mad because I don't understand it.
She's mad. Well, we'll watch it again tonight. And we'll see if you can figure
it. It makes no sense. That's why it's making me so mad.
You can connect the dots later. Maybe it'll get up to a 5-star once you connect it.
And nothing's confirmed. You just kind of guess.
All right. Well, we've had enough Sleepaway.
I'm gonna go.
We've said all we need to say about Sleepaway Camp. Until next week when we talk Sleepaway Camp 2. So stay tuned for that. But Angie, now it's time for Story Time with Kyle. It's time for Story Time with Kyle. Angie, you ready for this one? We're going to talk a little 4th of July action, maybe a couple of 4th of July fireworks. And you want to talk about that one time? No. 4th of July fireworks, 4th of July parades, a lot going on 4th of July. And Angie, once again, small town, you loved a good parade. Known for your parades up there, right? That's where the whole community would gather. And I think you guys would all hold hands around the streets and just sing and love the parades, of course, right?
Yes. So fun.
That's it. That's what happened. But for me, it was a big deal in the city, as we call it, the big city. But the parade was a big deal for my town. Like, we always get up the parade. People would put their chairs out days ahead of time, their blankets out ahead of time. You'd see everybody, you'd see the little league teams, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I remember as a kid, they used to throw money too. Did you ever throw money at your parades?
I don't think so.
And then they stopped doing it because, like, you would have like baseball teams, and that's what it was. These like baseball kids would be throwing quarters and trying to hit kids with it, which I would probably do the same thing as a little kid. It's like, I bet I can hit this guy or whatever. But I remember as a kid, it was awesome. You'd come back with like $3 and change or something.
Well, it was millions back then.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome. So I always got that, and then you get the candy. And then parade candy, you know, if they get you, most of them cheap out and they give you like those Smarties and like Tootsie Rolls. And When you get like the apple Tootsie Rolls and some of those specialty ones, those were pretty good. But most of that candy, it's like the trashy candy. And you hate it when you get that stuff for Halloween too.
Yeah.
You know, and every once in a while though, there'd be like somebody throwing out full like candy bars and stuff, which is always like, whoa. But then they were always melted because 4th of July is always hot. And then you'd always have people throwing waters, like water bottles. Mm-hmm. That's always a fun one, especially if you're outside and it's super hot.
My vibe.
And
or
then
the flavor
ice. Yeah, I was getting to that. So the kids love the flavor ices too. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times flavor ice is just pure liquid. They've been melted too, but kids love that as well.
I don't know why they wouldn't keep that on ice.
But parades are always a good time. And of course, you share your wares, you walk your parade. And I always wanted to bring one of my Jeeps in the parade too. I never did that. And I've had a lot of classic Jeeps over the years. I just was always too busy, never got around to it. Maybe that's something I'll put on my list for retirement too, is drive the Jeep in the parade, throwing stuff around. And have you ever been in a parade?
Yes.
In one? Many a times?
Yes.
It's just old hat for you. Mm-hmm. You love it. It was like parade 1, 2, 3, 4, like Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, 3, 4 for you. I was in a parade one time, and it was for like our AAU team for baseball, I think is what that was. And I think it was like we were the whatever, all-stars, and whatever we were showing there. Kyle coming in hot at first base, of course. First base, Kyle. This is always stuck at first base, never getting those home runs, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? But I always liked a parade, and I still like a parade, but unfortunately, our kids hate parades. Hate parades. I don't get it. They haven't liked them for years. Back to like, Elle was probably 7 years old and said, I'm done with parades. And Emma was like 4, I'm done with parades. They don't want to do it. They don't, nothing. But the last parade I remember having just a fabulous time at was we got Little Caesars pizza, like real quick. Oh, it's a cheap little one. And it was the best Little Caesars I've ever had in my life. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. It was like it recaptured that magic there. And we ate it on the trunk of my car at my buddy's driveway, just real quick before the parade. And then we ended up leaving the parade early because it was too hot and the kids had enough. And the kids both told us both that we don't want anything to do with the parade. And our local parade is the biggest parade in the state. It's a huge parade. I think it takes like 3 hours to get through everything. It's going to be streamed live on TV, so maybe we'll be like really old retired people that can't leave the house, and we're just going to watch it. That's what I'm saying. We'll just sit and watch it on TV. We'll stream it from our TV. That's not very fun, though. I like the rigmarole of the parade. You get up early, you go there. We used to always go to the grocery store. I'd check my store, make sure we were good for the day, and then you move on. So.
Yeah, we have one by us that's the night before, and then we have one that's like 10 a.m. the day of.
The one the night before is where I grew up as a kid. So that's the one I always want to go to. And it's fun to see all these people from my whole life. From when I was a little kid. It's the same people that live in these areas. But we won't go to that. We won't go to the other one.
I just thought I should explain because we weren't eating Little Caesars at 9 a.m.
No, that was the night Little Caesars. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong. I don't judge anyone for eating Little Caesars crazy bread at 9 a.m. That's for sure. But
we just had crazy bread today.
Yeah, we did have crazy bread today. That was a fabulous lunch for my birthday, too. I come out of the office and, we got crazy bread. What an exciting lunch. Angie pulling out all the stops for the birthday. But, of course, you got parades and you got fireworks. And I always love the fireworks. I'd go with my parents. I'd go with my friends. You'd watch the fireworks. You'd find your spot or whatever. You'd play baseball around it. You'd play tag. You do all that kind of stuff. You'd chase some lightning bugs. You do all that kind of stuff. And do the kids want to see anything to do with fireworks anymore?
They would do that.
No, they won't do that. They didn't do it the last couple of years.
I think we'll do it this year.
I don't think so.
That's when the Jeep comes in clutch because we can park anywhere really.
They can definitely stay up late because they don't go to bed till 9 a.m. half the time anymore. So they'd definitely be up for it. But the last couple of years, they've wanted nothing to do with the fireworks. And I've heard them, and I've been in the basement watching Sleepaway Camp 3, and they're just fireworks going off everywhere. But now fireworks are legal in our area too. So I'm a little scared about that one because that's all I want is my roof to catch on fire. I'm that old man. You guys stop out of there. And a couple of years ago, we did a video on YouTube where I blew up a bunch of broken wrestlers. I got my revenge against some of these wrestlers that broke, and I set them all on fire with fireworks. That was a fun video. I almost lost my finger in that mess. It wouldn't light, and then it lit, and about took my finger off.
It's going to be even worse because it lands on a Friday night.
Oh, yeah. Friday night's going to be the night, but we'll see. We're going to go to the parade. Well, probably not the parade as much as I want to, but we'll see.
We can all go together.
Oh, just you and me, we could go. We could. It just doesn't feel special. And then we'll definitely go to the fireworks. But Angie brought up a funny story here. So story time with Angie a little bit is we used to have a Chihuahua named Buster, one of the nicest dogs you'd ever meet, just the friendliest guy ever. And he was scared of fireworks. And I didn't remember that's what caused it, but I definitely remember this story. You want me to tell it? Mm-hmm. She wants me to tell it, of course. But we couldn't find Buster. We thought he escaped somehow, or we left the gate open or whatever, and he was lost. And how long do you think he was lost for?
Oh, God.
It was hours.
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 Horrible.
And we loved little Buster. He was just the man. He was a good guy. And we couldn't find him. We went everywhere. We searched. We cruised the neighborhood screaming and yelling for him. Buster, where is he? And he would never run away. He was always around us, but he apparently, I guess we must have thought the fireworks or something, or he just got away or whatever. Whatever happened, we don't know. And then we had 2 other chihuahuas, long-haired chihuahuas. Long-haired chihuahuas is the way to go. Don't get those short-haired ones. Gizmo and Lola, and they were still there. We had no problems with them. So, like, you think they would, like, rat on their buddy Buster, but no, they kept it quiet. They didn't tell us anything. And I don't even remember, how did we find out where he was?
Did he make a noise?
Or did we sit on him? I don't know. But long story short, he somehow crawled under the recliner and got up inside of the insides of the recliner and hid inside of there. Like a cat. That's something like a cat would do. But I remember just being so relieved to find that he wasn't dead. We still had him. I mean, but I don't understand how that happened and how he was that scared. And it was just the weirdest thing. But it was hours. And we're just like, well, it was nice having him. It was nice having him, but he's gone. We'll never see him again. And we found him.
I was pregnant at the time. I was more hysterical than normal. I was like,
oh, it was horrible.
In the dark.
But it was almost what was worse when Ace ran away like a year ago. That was ridiculous. I'm working. We have a huge field behind our house, and I was throwing away some yard work or whatever, and I didn't close the gate all the way, and all 3 dogs came out there. And of course, my boy Lemmy, he's hanging tight by me. Domino's hanging tight, but Ace is off a little way, and I said. And they were all over kind of just off to the side. And I go, you guys, come on, get over here. Get back inside. Domino, Lemmy, they come sprinting back into the gate. Ace looks at me and just runs the opposite way. Like he'd never seen me before. And then he stands at the top of the hill looking at me. So I come up there. I'm walking up to him like, Ace, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he darts. I was like, he doesn't want to live here anymore. He wants to move out. And he ran away, just gone. And I could not find him. And we searched. We got, my stepmom came over. I had Elle and her friends were searching. You were searching. I was searching.
So I was in the parent pickup line. And so I couldn't help at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
I got Elle. I dropped her off at home. Then I went back and had to get Emma. And then me and Emma were in the car together. And I looked for what? Maybe 10 minutes, and I'm like immediately found him.
She found him. He was chilling on a front step.
They were looking for like an hour and a half, probably.
Oh, at least.
And I found
him
almost
hot.
immediately.
And I was running on foot and running around trying to find him. And you found him at somebody. You were just driving by the neighborhood, and there he was on the front step somewhere. I mean, it was far away.
An old couple had him.
And they loved him, and they didn't want to give him back. But then he was screaming like he was.
She was almost crying. The lady, she's like, "Oh, I'm so relieved." But when he saw me, he was like,
yeah,
he was freaking out,
just an idiot.
And he was like, knew he was in trouble, but still shaking his tail.
He was so happy to be found by his family, but it was his fault. And I still look at him sometimes. I'm like, what is his deal? He's goofy. He's a little bit strange, and he's like Buster though. The Buster was the same way. He was a little strange. He was a step slow, Buster was. And Ace, I think, might be a step slow as well.
A little inbred.
But he's very friendly. Very friendly. And I don't know what went on that day.
So now we barricade both our gates. We have a back gate and a front side gate, and they're always barricaded.
They're barricaded. And we put the garbage in front of the gate on one just in case, because sometimes the wind will blow it up. And, it's a whole fiasco there. So that was a very great 4th of July memory as well. And one of my childhood memories, my dad was always grilling. And I never knew how good I had it as a kid as far as food goes. My dad would be making New York strips every single day on the grill. And I was just like, New York strips again. And then when I went to college, I'm like, I should get some of these New York strips. And I see how they cost a fortune. And I was like, man, I didn't know how good I had it on these strips. And my dad would always grill that back in the day. So I always remember 4th of July, he'd be grilling that. He'd grill chicken breast and a couple hamburgers. And it'd be just like him and I were the only ones eating the meat. We'd have like 15 things. I'm like, how are we going to eat all this? But we would find a way. We would find a way. We would find a way to eat all that beautiful meat. So I don't know, but this year, 4th of July plans, it is a Friday. We're going to attempt maybe a parade somewhere.
I have to work.
Works for the dog or for the birds. That's what it is. We all have to work, of course, but at night you won't be. So we'll try the parade. We'll try to get some dinner. We'll try to get some fireworks.
There's a festival by us.
We'll go to the carnival here. Maybe a milkshake or two will be drank.
Get a funnel cake in you.
And then I'll put a funnel cake right back in you.
You know I need a hot dog.
Oh, yeah. You need a footlong for sure. You came to the right place. We'll get you a footlong
or corn dog. Even better if they got a corn dog.
Corn dog, too, of course. And maybe corn on the cob, even. Mm-hmm. And you eat your corn the long way. It's a wild thing. But who knows? Who knows? But, Angie, there's a little story time with Kyle. A little fireworks, a little parade, a little 4th of July shenanigans. And now, Angie, it's time for some final thoughts. All right, Angie. Angie, it's time for a few final thoughts. You got any?
I'm hungry.
She's hungry. And that's it, folks. We'll see you next week. But Angie's hungry. We're off to eat dinner. I'm going to hit a Walmart along the way. It's my birthday. I can do that if I want to. And then we're going to call my parents, and we'll have some cake with my parents, and we'll be off to the races, get up early in the morning, go to the Stray Kids. We ran it all down for you, so we're pretty busy here. But I want to thank DJC Collectibles for sponsoring the podcast. Adolf DJC is the code. Tell them Kyle sent you, of course. And Angie, I don't know if you saw this lately, but I got a new book right here. It is the complete guide to the ECW original San Francisco toy makers.
Where's your other book? Why are you pimping that out?
I'll get there. You're ruining my flow. But of course, you know why I have to plug this, right?
No one else will.
No one else will, but it is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I have a couple of soft covers, I think, left. So we do have some books left. And yeah, my other book, the Jakks Complete Guide to the Classic Superstars, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I don't have any of those books left, unfortunately, but definitely well worth it, of course. And if you want one, reach out to me on the ECW book. And Angie will even sign it if you want her to as well. So check it out, support the channel, all that kind of fun stuff. Don't forget DJC. Thanks to Jeff George for the music. And of course, Midwest professional wrestling legend Gage Octane, the announcer of the Kyle Peterson Show, and future co-host here in a couple of weeks. So it'll be a very special episode. Angie, I have a question I'm going to leave you with here. Are you going to listen to that episode with me and Gage Octane?
Yes, of course.
Or you watch it or listen to it?
I'm slightly, well, I'm not scared, but maybe I am. That your like ratings will be like, or viewership will be like 3 times.
It could be.
You'll be like,
it's a special episode, so the views might be up. You never know what might happen there, but we'll see what ends up happening. And I'm going to try to get my dad to do a co-host too in one of those weeks. We'll see. I don't know.
It's going to be a good one.
It would be a good one, but I don't think
way better than this. Way better than me.
He said his dog needs his toenails clipped every single day, so I don't know if he's got time.
I was talking about.
Yeah. Octane?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good too, though. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But much more to come, of course. If you have any questions, we didn't have any questions this week, but it's kind of our own fault. We're having to film this early because of the travels and stuff. But if you have a question or a comment or something, send it to the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com. You can be the question of the week. Make sure you rate this podcast, give it 5 stars. And if you give it 5 stars, screenshot it, send to me at the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com. We will read it off here on the podcast. So there it is, Angie, episode number 14, a 4th of July celebration. Let's go create some fireworks in honor of my birthday. Let's do it. Let's create some fireworks in honor of my birthday. A little birthday treat, if you will. So there it is, Angie. Anything left for you? We've said it all. We've left it all on the table.
Nope.
Yep.
Maybe we'll insert a little video of you, or a little picture of you blowing out your candle.
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. You never know. But there it is for episode number 14. For my wife, Angie, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we going to dance or are we going to play?